Fortunate ako din.
Good day, Kavibal, and welcome to another session of our Parent Teacher Collaboration webinar series. For today's discussion, our topic would be on It's Your Time to Shine, Parental Role Towards Effective Delivery of Home-Based Education. Before we begin, take note of the following reminders. All certificates will be generated at certificate.vibalgroup.com and no certificates will be personally emailed to participants. Also, for questions during the session, place them on the comment box allotted and they will be addressed by our speaker later on. Place your hashtag LearnAsOnePH as our official hashtag to our Vibal webinars. Experience learning ka Vibal. And now, to proceed with our webinar this afternoon, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our distinguished speaker. Our speaker for this afternoon is an inspirational and motivational speaker who is also the current chair of the Department of Psychology, the lead chair of the School of Arts, Science, and Education at St. Dominic College of Asia. He is also part of the Psychology RQAT member of CHED Calabarzon 4A. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Philip Cordova Quizon, RPM.
Hello. Hello, good afternoon. All right. So first, I would like to thank Dibal for giving me this opportunity to give you some inspiration and motivation, especially to parents, on how to deliver education at home. As we all know, we are facing this COVID-19 pandemic crisis, and it's a challenge for us, parents, on how we can be part of the education that we should instill in our home. And beside, we don't have any choice right now. We should accept the reality that we should live in a new normal at this present, and at the same time, we should dwell with the things that will keep us safe, will at least continue our engagement when it comes to education for our kids. And the topic that I will be discussing today is very timely, actually. It's because right now the role of the parents are very, I mean, it's very important, especially in delivering home-based education. It's not normal for us parents to deliver this education at home because we rely on teachers at school. But at this present situation, we need to collaborate with the school, and we need also to be one of the frontliners in the education of our kids at home. Okay. So again, the topic is it's your time to shine. Parental role towards effective delivery of home-based education. I'm Dr. Quizon, and I hope that you can bear with me for 40 minutes in giving you this inspiration or motivation to parents on how we can effectively deliver home-based education. So that actually the presentation that I have right now answers around eight to nine questions. I guess these questions are essential for the discussion today. First is we need to recognize the problem and what are the impacts of COVID-19 in education. Then what feelings do we have because of this negative impacts? And we will be introducing to you what is distance education and what are the possible roles of each parent in distance education. And as we all know, we have those roles. There might be obstacles, or what are those obstacles that may hinder our engagement with distance education? And what are the possible negative effects of these obstacles to our kids? And also, we'll answer this question: how can we be frontliners in the education of our children at home? I guess the frontliners that we have in mind are those people working in the hospital. But take note that you are also frontliners of your children, especially right now the children needs new parents. And of course, lastly, how does parental care stimulate students' interest in distance education? All right, so let me start. What is the problem at present? I guess anyone can answer this, right? Because anyone or everyone experienced this problem. First, we have COVID, the presence of COVID-19. Second is, because of that, it restrains us from the outside world. As IATF and the government, or the mandate of the government, is trying to say to us that please stay at home. This is for your own safety. And that's the reason why all physical classes are suspended until further notice coming from the government. Those physical classes are not allowed because we might compromise the safety and health of our kids, of those students. And because of that restraint, we feel that the obstacles now are real. Even kids are having this kind of obstacles, whether that is a physical obstacle or something in an emotional related obstacle. Some of us might feel these burdens in life, financial burdens, adjustments, those things that we do normally before, but we can't do normally at this time. And because of that problem of COVID-19, we have limited mobility, in as much as we want to go out or in as much as we want to allow our kids to go to school. But again, we are talking about the safety and health of our school, and that, I mean, the students. That's the reason why we are encouraged, or we are being mandated, that school should be done at home, online, or or in what ways and means, like for example, modular education. And of course, this COVID-19 increases a sort of threat or danger. Technically, yes, because right now, if you will go outside, you think that maybe the person in front of you might be a COVID-19 infected individual. That's the reason why you're very cautious. And you feel that there's something, a threat or danger if you'll go out. So this is the current problem that we have. In as much as I want to discuss a bigger problem, but I really want to focus on how this problem can be an opportunity for us parents to shine in terms of home-based education. Next, what are the impacts of COVID-19 in education? If I will be questioning that to you, I guess most of you will say is that there is a negative impact. Yes, there is a negative impact. One of those is cancellation of classes or suspension of classes. We are restricted teachers and students to go to school to have our physical classes because our safety and health might be compromised because of this COVID-19 crisis or pandemic. So number one impact is that it's impossible to do classroom based education at this present. We are encouraged to stay at home, do some alternative learning in order for you to continue education while you are in the comfort of your own home because you are not allowed to go out. Second is, one of the impacts of COVID-19 in education is there are some students who were misguided in terms of their engagement in distance education. Perhaps this distance education is not that something new, but not commonly practiced. What I'm trying to say is that there are some states, universities, and colleges also already practicing distance education, but making it as a general policy, this is something new to us, something that you will learn in the comfort of your own home. And because of that, some students are misguided to what they will do, how they can accomplish, and what are those things that they can accomplish in order for them to become a better student. Because in front of them is no longer a teacher. In front of them is, I mean, the gadgets that they have, the phones, the connectivity, and something that is not normal for them in terms of education delivery. Another impact of this COVID-19 in education is there is a pause temporarily of this academic engagement or of our academic engagement. This would mean we teachers, in as much as we want to tell more stories in a physical sense to our students, we are restricted not to do that in front of them physically. And in as much as we want to reach them, our students, there are some limitations that intention to reach our student limits us because of the internet connectivity issues. And that's the reason why there are some schools that post for a while their academic operation due to some problems that they have encountered with this pandemic crisis. Okay? And another impact is that we are alarmed of this problem. The academic community is really alarmed. Let's be honest, all of us are not ready on this. Even the government is not ready on this. But the big question here is that, are we supposed to continue that non-readiness, or are we supposed to do some alternative in order for education to be continued? And that's a challenge for parents. Later, I will discuss more on that. Another thing is that it compromised learning due to limited online accessibility. Our kids normally go to the library, read books, or sometimes in the absence of book, they consult their teacher and ask some questions. However, at this time, there might be some limitations in doing that. And that's the reason why some of their learnings might be compromised. And we cannot say that all things that we can find in the internet is something fact or something true. There are some integrity issues, perhaps in the accessing some online materials. We don't know where those materials will came from, and that's the reason why there are some learnings that are being compromised. Like for example, laboratories. It's really hard to do laboratories virtually because it's a physical thing that you need to do as a student in order for you to engage in a laboratory environment. Another impact is that it threatens the continuity of education. Right now, there are a lot of parents calling to stop the should we say stop the education for 2020 2021 academic year. However, there are strategies in order for it not to be a pleasing call. Like for example, the Department of Education right now is doing some alternatives in order for those students who can study in the comfort of their own home without the requirement of being physically present at school. Like, for example, modular learning, online learning, and such. And lastly, one of the or the last impact that I can say in this COVID-19 when it comes to education is that the stability in education is being compromised. It is true. Um, the academic community is being alarmed right now. What will happen to us? What will happen to our students? What will happen to the entire academic community because of this pandemic crisis? Um, it's not just the academic community, but also those parents who lost their jobs because of this pandemic crisis. And that's the reason why it's a very challenging part on us parents on how to become more responsive in this time of crisis. So as our intent to finish this education to our kids will be meaningful and at least possible. Okay. So with this impact, what feelings do we have because of this negative impacts? First is fear. There are a lot of things that you can define fear. Fear is something personal because you have the fear that your health will be compromised. Another fear is that when it comes to education, you might not continue your education because of financial reasons, or there is a fear that the perception of that having face-to-face classes will still be possible at this pandemic crisis. So that's the reason why parents decided not to allow their kids to enroll this coming academic year. Another feeling that parents can feel is the feeling of exhaustion. It's not something that you have. It is something also that you feel inside. As parents, there are a lot of things that you need to think. You think not just the financial aspect of the family, but also the other side, the social support, the care, the love. If, for example, you were not employed at this time during this pandemic crisis. And as much as we want to think something a better life financially for our kids, then that restricted to us to do more. So that's the reason why we cannot blame our parents right now that they are very exhausted because the situation the situation introduces them this kind of feelings. This COVID-19 pandemic crisis perhaps is something new to us in terms of the effect, the global effect. Another feeling that parents might feel is being empty. This is the hard part of becoming a parent. Where can I provide something, as Miss Universe 2018 is telling? Where can I get something in order to feed my family, in order to at least do some continuity in the daily living of my family? Another feeling that perhaps parents would feel is being lost. Let's say that you have, but how can I be guided in my responsibility when it comes to home-based education? Who will guide me? Who will give me something that, or who will assess if what I am doing is correct or not? Another feeling is impatience. I guess these impatience feelings are being expressed by everyone, maybe because of the restrictions that we cannot go outside. We are restricted in this kind of pandemic crisis. We want to go out in as much as we could, but the government doesn't allow us to go out, as unless there are important things that you need to know with their guaranteed permission and approval. So impatience takes place right now. Okay, and of course, feelings of negativity. Um, there are parents who are finds negative things about online education. Maybe it's because the issue there is the internet access. They might not have gadgets, but let me tell you, the Department of Education is giving their best in order to create modular education for students without the requirement of internet connection. And hope that that kind of strategy will encompass all students from basic education to senior high school. And another feeling that the parents are feeling, or I mean, is being felt right now is some of the parents are becoming depressed because it's not also usual for them that Monday to Friday their students, I mean their kids, their children are at home. They're expecting that their kids or children is at school. However, because of this pandemic crisis, I guess it's 3 months already. Kids age 21 and below are restricted to go outside and they are inside the comfort of the room. Of course, parents might feel some a little bit of depression because the expenses are doubled, and at the same time the attention is also doubled because those kids are inside the home or inside at home doing a lot of things that might not be normal to the parents because that parent is expecting that my kids are at school. And lastly, with all these feelings, I guess this is the most common feeling that parents are feeling right now. I mean, the being stressed or the this feeling of being stressful in this kind of situation. I guess all of us are being stressed right now. They're saying that it's okay to not to be okay, but um, making yourself not okay every day is something you need to ask. Okay, so from this negative feelings that we can get out of this impact of COVID-19 in education, what would be the biggest challenge for us is that how can we embrace it and make this kind of crisis an opportunity for us parents to increase more our role for our children. As far as we understand, we rely education to teachers during those normal time, but at this time the call is collaboration, and that's the reason why each agency are calling all family, specifically parents, to work with them, collaborate in order to have a continuity when it comes to education. So, what is distance education? Okay, perhaps all of us are defining it as something away from school. Perhaps this distance education is something that you can do it anywhere. But I define distance education based on how I understand it as digital and independent learning system through asynchronous and non-asynchronous collaborative education. So that's DISTANCE. D stands for digital, I for independent learning, S for system, then of course through A stands for asynchronous, and N for non-asynchronous collaborative education. So for short distance education at this pandemic crisis is having your education at home for your safety and of course for your health. We have a lot of means and ways on how to make effective education at home by means of online education, or some school prepares module in order for those students to answer it offline without the presence of internet connectivity. Some of those are doing asynchronous type of learning, wherein the students are doing academic related activities online at his or her own pace. But when we say Non-asynchronous or synchronous, there is what we call a specified time wherein the students will sit down in a platform and the teacher will do some online lecture. And of course, I added here collaborative because parents should work already or should have a participative role in terms of home-based education. Okay? So what are the possible roles of each parent in distance education? For me, there are six. So I identified it as letter P, A, R, I, E, and E, N, T. I just spelled it, spelled parent that way. So P for participative role, A for active learner, R for reinforcer, E for enthusiast, and N for nurturer, T as teacher. Let me explain that, okay? It may be hard for you to understand, but as parent, you should be participant in a home-based education. You should be an active learner. You should reinforce or the reinforcer. You should be an enthusiast, a nurturer, and a teacher. First is participant. You may ask me, Doc, why I as a parent be a participant in this kind of home-based education? Let me advise you that the absence of a physical teacher requires a physical presence of a parent because we don't know what type of online or modular education that our children is engaging in our absence. And that's the reason why we as parents should participate in the home-based education of our students. And that's very crucial because we don't know. Some student might be, should we say, active, and other student might be passive in their engagement with the home-based education. Another is active learner. This is the big question, I guess, that parents might question their should we say, I'm not saying that you don't have the potential. I mean, what I'm trying to say here is that you might ask, can I be a teacher, something like that? Do I have the qualities or the, should I say, the knowledge? I guess this is the best time for us to be an active learner as well. Parents are not only limited to find means and way to financially sustain the family. Parents are also now given this opportunity to shine as learners as well in order for us to impart what learning we have to our children. And we should be active and proactive on that kind of strategy. Being an active learner does not mean that it requires you to finish an education like a higher degree. What I'm trying to say here is that there are some things online or there are some things by query that you can be an equipped parent answering the queries of of your children. If there are no available answers to their questions, then give them or assure them that you will find the ways on how to answer that unleft answered question. Okay. Another role of the parent is you should be one who reinforce the attitude of having high interest in home-based education. Let me remind you, parents, that if we become a very good reinforcement to our children, then the interest of our children in terms of academic engagement at home will increase because they see that their parents supports. The mother and the father supports their academic engagement, and the parents are there sitting down with them and giving them moral support. We might not we may not give a total 100% academic learning to our student, but sitting down beside our kid while they are learning and asking questions, and we can answer it in our own in our own knowledge, that kid will appreciate, oh pala si mama at si papa ang love na love ako, inuupuan ako kahit papano tinutulungan ako sa pag-aaral ko. That is a sense of appreciation coming from the kid. You will have this sense of being appreciated to the effort that you're doing to the kid, and there is a bonding that can be created between the parents and the kid. That's the reason why I'm telling this in the seminar, or I put a title. It's now your time to shine as parents. I understand that you have these preoccupations, that you have a lot of things that you do. But again, we are living in a new normal, and this is again your time to shine as parents or educators at home. Another role of parents is being enthusiast, or a person who is highly interested in a particular activity or subject. Suppose I'll give you an example. Suppose that you're sitting beside your kid and the kid ask you a question, and what you did is something you told you. I mean, there is what you call the communication with your kid that, hey, I will find an answers to that question, but give me time. Then I guess you are now practicing being an enthusiast to your kid. You are not just facilitating, but you are putting also interest in learning something out of that home-based education that is being done by your kids. And also, another role is become a nurturer. I guess this is the baseline of each parent. You should nurture your kid. We cannot just rely on nurturing from our teachers. It's our primary role from the very beginning, from infancy down to the time that they decided to live at home, to nurture them what they should be, or what they can become in the future. And lastly, for your role as parent in distance education is a teacher. Um, I put this in a sense that parent can be a teacher at home. It doesn't require, there is no requirement for you to have a licensed professional teacher in order for you to teach at home. It's a matter of dedication. It's a matter of perseverance. It's a matter of determination in becoming a teacher to your kids. There are two perspectives of being a parent and a teacher. Parent in a way that you may give psychosocial support to your kids, a financial thing, and the other thing is becoming a teacher to your kid. You may teach moral values or some technicalities, or you become a teacher facilitator to your kid. And it doesn't require to parents for a higher degree in order for that role to be accomplished by parents. Now, I understand that these are the roles, but what are the possible obstacles that may hinder our engagement with distance education? As we all know, that yes, we have this role, but there are some times that, in as much as we want to, there are some obstacles along the way that hinder us to become an effective facilitator in the home-based education of our kids. So first is letter O, your obligation overload. I understand that you're working for your kids, and that's the reason why you don't have time to sit down with your parents, because after your work you're tired, you prefer to sleep. You will just tell your kids, hey, can I answer that tomorrow, anak, kasi pagod na ako. So yun yung mga bagay na nagkakaroon ng obstacle, nagkakaroon ng kumbaga um, something something a kumbaga limitations in your part na hindi mo na magagawa yung facilitator may pagiging facilitator mo sa iyong anak in terms of his academic engagement at home. Another obstacles or that hinder you to be engaged with distance education to your kid is your bad or negative feelings and emotions. If you have negative feelings or something na may hinanakit ka, or kung kanino man yun, may galit ka, this might hinder you to become a facilitator or a teacher to your kid. Nagkaroon ka ng problema sa buhay na akala mo katapusan na ang buhay, at naging, kumbaga, yun na yung strong feeling na nararamdaman mo ngayon, tapos nakikita mo yung anak mo na nag-aaral, there is a possibility that you might not feel the presence of your kid browsing a book because you are preoccupied with your emotions, with your negative emotions. Another obstacle that may hinder you to engage in this distance education is The stability issues in the internet. Ito talaga, problema talaga to. This is a technical problem that we are facing right now, regardless what type of connections we have. Sasabihin, si PLDT, bakit ganun? Si Globe, si Smart. Ngayon, hindi na makapag-online ng anak ko. Yan. Na-stress ka na, hindi mo na na-facilitate yung learning ng iyong bata. Hindi, parang kumbaga, you may divert it in another way, in a form of a healthier way of trying to fix or troubleshoot that kind of problem na dahil sa affected ka na sa internet connection, nagiging obstacle din yan na magiging facilitator ka sa learning or engagement ng iyong anak when it comes to home-based education. Ito pinaka-crucial to sa obstacle, ang letter T. Time is limited. Yung sinabi ko nga kanina, pag-uwi ng bahay, pagod na pagod kasi walang masakyan. Galing trabaho si mama, naglakad ng 4 hours from EDSA to Cavite. Could you imagine that? Tapos uwi ng bahay, pagod na pagod. Tapos wala ka ng oras. That can be an obstacle or an hindrance for you not to be actively or proactively engaged with your kids dealing with home-based education. Letter A stands for absence of will and care. Kung wala ka talagang care at determinasyon, talagang hindi mo magagawa ang pagiging facilitator teacher mo sa iyong anak when it comes to home-based education. Always remember that whatever things we're doing, it starts with a will. In this case, when we apply this will in this home-based education, if we really want to encourage ourselves and help our kids with this home-based education, first, we have a strong determination and decision that I will be a facilitator teacher to my kids. Kasi alam ko na walang tatakbuhan ng aking anak kundi ako. At kung pababayaan ko sila, definitely they might divert their attention to another things or unproductive things that will not make them a better student. Ito, letter C, conflict at home. Yung mga problema sa bahay. Like for example, nag-aaway ang magulang, ang nanay, ang tatay. If you keep that as a practice at home, definitely you cannot find time to sit down with your kid and be a facilitator teacher and help browse your kid and learn the kid at home, at the comfort of the home. Kung palagi na lang nag-aaway ang nanay at tatay, or kung sasabihin na lang natin, si nanay, maraming ginagawa, ganun-ganon. Ikaw, kanina ka pa, ganun-ganon. There's a lot of words coming from the mouth of the parents, maybe because the parents want to ask these kids to help in the household chores. Unfortunately, syempre may ginagawa ang mga bata, nagagalit ang magulang na, that creates a conflict. Or another thing is yung pag-aaway ng mga bata. Yung yung paggamit ng mga gadgets, sasabihin ng isang anak, ang pangalan, Mama, may gagawin ako, sasabihin ng bunso, ito rin may gagawin ako, may assignment akong kailangan tapusin. And pag hindi yan na-resolve, kung hindi nag-meet halfway or there were no win-win solutions, definitely that will create a conflict at home. And when there is a conflict at home, there is a high chances or probability that you will not engage yourself as a facilitator teacher to your kids. In second. Okay. So another problem that we encounter is limited knowledge and resources. Ito, medyo challenging talaga to kasi syempre, we are now relying on the online resources actually. And one of those requirements in order for you to make that kind of engagement possible is that you should have an internet connection. So if you have poor internet connection, you might struggle in getting online resources, and that can be an obstacle for you too, or a hindrance for you to have some academic engagement with your kids at home through home-based education. Another thing is that not all in the internet are factual resources. So it's a challenge for us also parents on how to get information where this information can be of help to our kids in their engagement of education at home. Letter E is encouragement. If your encouragement is not active, definitely you cannot also encourage your kids to appreciate or to learn this kind of new strategies. If you will not encourage your kids to to be part of that home-based education, definitely that kid will not stimulate his or her interest in learning things at home. And lastly, this is very crucial. I guess I mean, parents are quite questioning about this within themselves. Yung self-efficacy. Kung mababa ang iyong self-efficacy, yung belief mo sa sarili na kaya ko to, kung mababa yan, definitely, you cannot start an engagement with your kids in terms of academic engagement with your kids. Kasi minsan, palaging tinatanong ng parents, minsan nagbabrowse ako sa Facebook, may nakikita ako, hindi ko naman kasi kaya kasi wala akong pinag-aralan. May mga magulang na ganun. Paano ko maibibigay ang education sa anak ko kung mismo ako wala akong pinag-aralan? I guess the best question is that, kung wala kang pinag-aralan, hindi ba pwedeng magsimula ka para may maaral ka? It's not an excuse na wala kang natapos. Again, developmental ang ating pinag-uusapan. Crucial kasi sa bata ang learning, especially from age, from kinder down to senior high school. Kasi of course, there are mga, yun pa yan, non-legal age pa yan. And the developmental there is very crucial. Kung ikaw mismo, sasabihin mo sa sarili mo at sa mga anak mo na, anak, pasensya na, hindi kita matutulungan. Dahil ako mismo walang pinag-aralan, mailalagay nila sa utak nila na, paano ako mapapacilitate kung mismo ang aking magulang ay sinabihan na ako na hindi ako matulungan. Dapat, ang sasabihin ng magulang is that, anak, kaya natin yan matutunan. It's collaboration. Kung hindi mo kayang, kung wala kang kaalaman, if you don't have the knowledge within you, and you claim that you don't have, but it's not an excuse for you not to research or not to ask help in order for that positive collaboration that can be take place between you as parent and your children. So, nakakalungkot kung sasabihin ng isang magulang na, anak, pasensya na, hindi ko talaga yan kaya. Hindi naman, minsan kasi, hindi naman hinihingi ng anak ninyo yung kaalaman. Kung hindi, pagpupursige na matulungan silang malaman yung isang bagay, na ma-facilitate sila. Simple at saying na ganito ang sasabihin nyo, anak, kahit wala akong matapos, pero sige, try natin, anak, hanapin yung sagot na yan. Kasi baka may kakilala ako na marunong sumagot niyan. Then, that increase in positive engagement with your kids, the interest of that kids to learn things at home will really increase. Kasi, alam niya na secured siya, na kanyang magulang ay nag-assure sa kanya na tutulungan siya. So, if you have high self-efficacy, regardless of what you have academically achieved as parent, yung inyong internal motivation can also encourage your kids to increase their learning interest at home. So when we consider these obstacles, what are the possible negative effects of these obstacles to our kids? Siyempre, crucial yun eh. Kasi kung puro ka na lang obligasyon sa buhay, wala ka ng time, puro ka negative feelings, sasabihin mo na lang na ang internet hindi stable kaya hindi kita matulungan. Tapos sasabihin mo sa anak mo, anak, wala akong time, pagod na pagod ako, gusto ko nang huminga, galing akong trabaho. Tapos yung pag-aaway sa bahay, yung wala kang will and care sa anak mo, yung feeling mo yung limited resources ay hindi na kumbaga wala na, katapusan na, or yung hindi ka nag-encourage at mababa yung bili mo sa sarili, syempre may effect din yan sa mga anak mo. There are possible negative effects of those obstacles that you have directly to your kids. Number one is that one of the negative effects is the needs of your kids are not addressed properly. Okay? As parents, we need to address their needs properly. And one of those needs is education. Okay? So, tayo mga magulang, kahit hindi tayo nakatapos as a teacher, but within us, we are already a teacher. We have taught them from the very beginning, before they entered the door of that classroom. Naturuan na natin yan sila. We have already proved to them that we are in a teacher in a way. We have started actually. Akala niyo, hindi nyo lang namalayan. Pero we have started education with our kids. Education starts at home. That's the reason why when we feel that we have properly educated our student by our own means, and we want to make education as a formal, then that's the reason why we have submitted our kids at school. Kaya nga, eto negative talaga sa bata pag hindi na properly address yung needs nila. Nakakalungkot para sa side ng bata na hinihintay na lang kung sino ang tutulong sa kanya. Another thing is engagement in distance education is low. Kung mafe-feel ng bata na wala siyang makukuhang tulong sa kanyang magulang, darating siya sa point na aayaw siya mag-aral. Kasi hindi na nga ako makalabas. Sino pang hingan ko ng tulong? E di syempre dapat magulang, di ba? Minsan kasi yung sabihin na natin pwedeng mahinga ng kapatid. Pero ang primary role ng magulang is to guide the students, their children at home, learning things. Hindi pwedeng pabayaan nyo lang sila. Kaya nga, kung pinabayaan lang sila, yung kanilang engagement, yung interest, yung kanilang gana sa pag-aaral sa bahay ay dahan-dahang mawawala. Another is, guidance to our kids is compromised if we have this kind of obstacles. Actually, if we solidify these obstacles, yung pag-guide natin sa ating mga anak ay makokompromise. Like for example, eto, very crucial kasi ang engagement ng bata online kasi hindi natin alam kung anong pinagbubuksan ng mga batang yan. Hindi natin alam kung anong engagement ng mga bata sa online. Pag hindi nyo yung ginabayan, parents, or kung hindi nyo yung inupuan at tinignan kung anong gagawa niya, hindi natin alam kung saan na mapupunta ang kanilang online engagement. And that's the reason why parents have crucial role in monitoring the activities of their kids, especially online. Dapat nandiyan kayo. Hindi natin alam, baka bigla na lang ng browse. I'm sorry, this is for academic discussion, like pornography. Hindi natin alam, or bigla na lang may nagchat-chat, or malay natin, sa sobrang nangulakot, yung parang kumbaga, very curious ang mga bata, biglang online transaction, naglasada, hindi natin alam, ganun mga bagay. We don't know up to how far these kids can do their online engagement in the absence of the parents. Another thing is active learning is deactivated. Kung hindi ginagabayan or hindi binibigyan ng inspiration or motivation or engagement itong mga bata nito coming from the parents, yung active learning nila is ma-deactivate. When we say active learning, these are learning that are essentials na sa kanilang academic engagement. Baka mapunta sila sa iba. Parang kumbaga, yung learning na inaasahan natin na dapat matutunan ng bata, ay hindi yun yung natutunan ng bata kasi in the first place, wala tayo sa side niya. Another thing is tension may take place between parents and children. This would mean na baka magkakaroon din ng sentimiento ang anak mo sa iyong magulang. Sasabihin ng anak mo na, Ma, ikaw na lang ang inaasahan ko dito, bakit mo ko hindi ginagabayan? Hindi ko pa alam kung paano gagawin ko ito. Kanino ako hihingi ng tulong? Ang sabi nga nila, mas mataas ang credibility ng pagtulong ng magulang kaysa ng ibang tao. Kasi yung trust relationship ng bata sa magulang is mataas. Kaya nga, if we want to establish a trust relationship to our kid, we should do some engagement with our kids, making them feel that, anak, kahit anong mangyari, kaya natin to. Ganun. Kaya natin hanapin yung sagot niya. Hihingi tayo ng tulong sa iba, gabayan kita. Okay? O another thing for tension is that baka mawalan din ng ganang anak sa inyo as a parent. Baka bigla na lang hindi natin alam, syempre kung academically engaged ang bata tapos gustong matuto, baka ma-depress ang bata, hindi natin alam. You know that one of the symptoms of suicide or any suicide ideation or an attempt is depression. Baka ma-depress ang bata. Maraming cases na ngayon na teenagers are getting in this kind of, kumbaga, this kind of activity wherein it compromise their own safety. Na hindi alam ng magulang na nag-suicide yung bata dahil nga na-depress, dahil hindi natulungan ng magulang o hindi napakinggan. Kaya nga, I really advocate this listening rather than hearing kasi listening is really important. That listening or that listening that we can give to the kids make them feel that they are not alone and they cannot live in the comfort of their aloneness. Okay? Then another negative effect that these obstacles may happen to our kids is that interest is diverted to non-productive things. Ito yung pinaka, medyo, para sa akin na, delikado. Kung na-divert at naging comfort zone nila yung mga non-productive things, like paglalaro ng video games. Maayo ko mag-aral kasi masaya na ako dito eh. And when they make that as a comfort zone, parents, it's a monumental task for you to divert them back to that what we call productive things or activities. Hinayaan nyo lang yung anak nyo eh. So, ang mangyayari is gagawa ng parang yung anak para mawala yung boredom niya. And ang ginawa niya is naglaro na lang siya ng video games until such na naging comfort zone na niya. Hindi na siya nag-aral, wala na siyang natutunan. And it's very crucial. Hindi natin alam. Baka at the end of the day, hindi na ang interest ang nawala sa pagbabasa, baka mismo sa pag-aaral na ay ayaw na niya kasi masaya na siya sa pag-video games niya. And that's very crucial. And that's a monumental task for parents to divert them back to that productive things that we want to our kids. Another thing is that vague learning. Kaya nga, diba, sabi ko kanina, we parent can be a teacher facilitator to our student. Okay? And if we don't play that kind of role as a teacher facilitator, then baka hindi nila maintindihan yung mismo ginagawa nila. O yung naiintindihan nila ay hindi pala tama. Crucial yan sa cognitive development ng iyong anak. Kasi yung natutunan niya is something pala na hindi tama kasi hindi siya nagabayan. Kaya nga, parents, you should keep in mind that regardless of your capacity or your knowledge, you are still a parent to your kid, giving this motivation, giving this encouragement, giving this time, love and care, especially at this time of crisis when it comes to home-based education. And with all this negativity, baka ma-expose yung anak ninyo. The exhausted feelings of being alone. Baka ma-feel ng anak nyo, ay wala naman si Papa at si Mama, ano na lang ang gagawin ko? Hayaan ko na lang, bahala na lang kung ano mangyari. Could you imagine? At that young age and young mind of that kid, ganun na ang may isip ng bata. Hindi natin alam anong next na pwedeng gawin ng bata. It's either withdrawal from reality or escape or magkakaroon ng displaced emotions or hindi natin alam. Kaya nga, very crucial ang ating distance as parents to our kids. Kasi dapat, ang role kasi natin is that no matter how busy we are, no matter what obstacles we have, we should let our kids feel that we are there, embracing. Ganun. Okay? So, how can we be active frontliners in the education of our children at home? Kaya nga talaga, sabi ko talaga, parents should be frontliners. Hindi ako naniniwala na puro doktor o yung nasa labas na. Parents, for me, is the most, an important frontliner in the life of those kids at home. Okay? So, how can we be active as frontliners in the education of our children in the comfort of our own home? First is letter F. Find time with your children, no matter how busy you are. Kahit 30 minutes lang yan. Like for example, pagod na kayo. Just divert it in a positive direction. I understand na pagod kayo, marami kayong ginagawa. But come to this realization or reflection na may mga anak ako sa bahay. It's not just something that I give. It is something, the comfort and care that I can show to my kids in a non-financial or non-monetary way. Okay? So find time with your children. Kahit 20 minutes lang yan, upuan niyo, o anak, kumusta na? Sasabihin na anak, mami, may in-answer ako. Tingnan mo daw yung math, tama ba yung answer ko? Siyempre, kung basic math, check lang yan ng magulang. O anak, ang galing. Ang score mo is 9 out of 10. Ang mali mo ganito. Could you imagine that kind of collaboration with your kid will increase the engagement of your kid to excel and study more at home. At mafe-feel niya na, ay, love na love talaga ako ni mama, kay pagod si mama. And at the same time, kung sasabihin kayo ng anak niyo, mama, I love you, thank you ha, kahit konting time, you have shared your time to me, kahit pagod ka na, as a parent, nawawala. Actually, Nawawala yung pagod mo, nawawala yung stress mo sa buhay kasi you are, you felt this kind of appreciation as a parent. Kaya iba yung feeling na na-appreciate ka ng mga anak mo. Okay? For letter R, reinforce positive outcomes. We cannot assume that perfect things will happen in home-based education. But when you reinforce positive outcomes, it increases our engagement with our student. In the same way, it also aid our student to have this kind of positive mind that my the results of my academic engagement as children, for example, at home, is being reinforced by my parent. Another thing is that observe the engagement of your children. Dapat obserbaran mo. Hindi naman pwede na buong araw nakaupo ka sa sa tabi ng anak mo. But by means of observation, like for example, tinitingnan mo yung anak mo, o anak, ano na yung pinagtitingnan? Akala ko pa research yan online, ganun, ganun. It gives them a sort of limitations and restrictions as well. Na parang kumbaga, you instill discipline to your kids. Na discipline in an academic sense that is being done at home is very important. Okay? Note all questions left unanswered. Like for example, kung may mga tanong anak-anak mo na hindi mo masagot, huwag na lang, hindi naman kailangan na magmagaling tayo or magiging matalino tayo. We can get a piece of paper. O anak, ano ba yung tanong mo? O isusulat ko ha. Sige anak, give me time, then I will answer it. If I cannot answer it, I will ask someone to help me. Then if there is an answer that I will give to you, anak, okay ka naman. So syempre, sasabihin ng anak mo, Mapa, thank you ha, kahit paano ginagawan mo ko ng paraan para matulungan mo ako. Hindi kailangan maging matalino ang magulang para matulungan academically ang kanilang anak. Dedikasyon lang ang kailangan para umusbong ang edukasyon sa bahay. Next is track academic performance at home. So, magiging teacher ka rin. Like for example, kung ang score niya nung isang araw, for example lang ha, kung ikaw kaya mo mag-check ng papel, ang score niya is 6 out of 10 or 5 out of 10. So you track the academic performance of your kid. Kasi sabi mo, o anak, 5 pa lang ang score mo, galingan mo ha. Give encouragement to your kid. By tracking the academic performance, you can also find means and ways on how to encourage your kids. Maybe you can do some reward system to your kids, but I'm not advocating fully reward system kasi baka magre-rely yung mga bata na perfect ako, may reward ako. Hindi naman maganda yan. What I'm trying to say is that at least you can do some reward system a little, na i-reward mo sila, ganun-ganun sa mga bagay na tamang ginagawa nila with their engagement of education at home. Ito, listen to the needs of your children. Kasi minsan ang mga bata hindi expressive or mga kabataan ngayon, hindi na nakikipag-usap sa mga magulang. Actually, napapansin ko yan. Mas gusto nila sa Facebook. Shout out yan. Ganun ang sasabihin nila. I'm sad, ganun-ganon. I'm not okay. Pinost sa Facebook. Tapos, ang nangyari, naka-receive ng 1 million likes. Would that mean that being not okay is okay? Or I'm sad or being sad is okay? Or it confirms that you can be sad the rest of your life? And ito pa ang crucial. May nabasa ako sa isang blog na yung may nag-post ng I want to commit suicide tapos biglang nagkaroon ng maraming likes. Would likes be a confirmatory that quick committing suicide is okay? Yun yung sinasabi ko, listen to the needs. Be attentive to the needs of your children. Hindi natin alam, baka may pinagdadaanan tong anak ninyo. Hindi rin natin alam kung yung anak ninyo ay may problema. Hindi porket may home-based education, it doesn't mean na yung welfare ng bata ay hindi mo rin tinitingnan. You may ask question, o anak, kumusta ka? Kumusta ka na? Simple asking that, yung pagkumustahan, it creates already communication with your kids. Hindi natin alam. We are the better person thinking to the welfare of their kids in such a way that we can analyze yung mga sinasabi nila. Baka may meron silang ma-share sa atin na we find it very critical on our end and we can give them parental advices. So again, listen to the needs of the kid. Needs is not just something that physical, something na parang makikita mo or mahahawakan mo. Sometimes there are some needs that we cannot see but we can feel. Okay? Initiate positive mind to your children. Ito, pag positive ka sa buhay mo, of course, mai-influence mo yung pagiging positibo sa anak mo. Pero pag negative ka, automatic magiging negative yung anak mo. So, dapat magiging positibo ka sa lahat ng bagay. Huwag mong pakitaan yung anak mo na, Anak, hindi ko talaga kaya yan. Wag mo nang answeran yan. Hayaan mo naman. Pasado ka naman eh. Ganun. Wag ganon. Dapat positibo lang. Hindi lahat ng bagay nakukuha ka agad. Minsan, it takes some patience for you to get answers to the questions of your kids. And in that sense, you are initiating a positive environment actually. Kung ikaw mismo, magulang, positibo ka, you are now initiating a positive environment to your kids. Another thing is ito, collaboration. Notify the teacher about academic progress. So, minsan kasi, hindi, again, as I have said earlier, hindi lahat kaya natin. Minsan we need someone to help us in order to check to check the progress of the kids in his or her academic engagement at home. So dapat nagwo-work din kayo work in hand with the teacher kasi sometimes or most of the times we can find answers through teachers. You can text them or send them private message via Facebook. Kung may mga tanong kayo, you work with collaboration with the teacher. And that would be a best start for home-based education, be appreciated. Another thing is encourage your kids or our kids to excel. So dapat tayo mismo, magulang, mag-encourage tayo sa ating mga anak na anak, dapat mag-excel ka sa buhay mo kasi at the end of the day, yung totoong battle ay pagiging independent mo sa buhay. At the end of the day, hindi lahat ng magulang nandiyan sa tabi mo. So dapat mag-excel ka para ready ka na sa combat ng buhay mo paglabas mo dito sa bahay or I mean natin tayong kasi paglaki mo. I mean, nandun ka na sa real world of work, ready ka na. Yung ibig sabihin ng encouraging your kids to excel kasi when kids are excelling, their behaviors and attitude is not conditioned na ang kanilang engagement or journey or academic journey is to excel. Mas maganda ang ganong direksyon kaysa naman parang kumbaga sinasabi natin na bahala na si Batman or bahala na bahala na kung anong mangyari. Dapat hindi ganon. Tayo mismo ang mag-i-initiate ng positive mind sa ating mga bata in order for them to increase their encouragement of excelling in all things actually. And ito, reflect your role in the academic success of your children. Ako, advocate talaga ako ng reflection. In all the decisions that you do as parents, or should I say, teacher facilitator, reflection is really important. Because sometimes, the more you reflect, the higher the chances that you can find ways and means in a very positive way. Makakapag-isip ka ng maayos. Makakapag-isip ka ng solution as parent. Paano mo i-address academically yung problema ng anak mo. In the absence of reflection, magkakaroon ng kumbaga vague, magkakaroon ng kumbaga dilemma kung ano yung gagawin. Pero kung magre-reflect ka, if you will reflect, anong gagawin ko? Hihingi ba ako ng tulong sa ganito or sa ganito? That would also facilitate you on your research process in order to find answers to those questions being raised by your children at home. And of course, you need to stay optimistic and be participative in the things that you're doing to the kids. Again, sinapalagi ko talaga sinasabi. No matter what happens, sasabihin mo sa anak mo, anak, kaya natin yan. Tiwala lang. Kung hindi man natin magagawa yung pagsagot ngayon, sige, susulat ko lahat ng mga tanong niyan at gagawa tayo ng paraan kung paano tayo makakahingi ng tulong. Again, you parents is not required to become intelligent academically to your kids. What matters most is you are dedicated to your kids in terms of their academic engagement. So how does parental care stimulate students' interest in distance education? Parental care creates a healthy environment. So pag healthy ang environment, kung may care sa bahay, it creates a healthy environment. Hindi natin maiwasan yung negativity, pero hindi tayo mapupunta sa ganung direction. We still consider that there is a silver linings in every problems that we encounter in life. Parental care assures our kids that we are loving and helping persona to them. What I'm trying to say here is that tayo mga magulang, ina-assure natin na kahit anong mangyari, kahit gaano tayo ka-busy, na ipapakita pa rin natin ang pagmamahal physically and yung pagtulong natin sa kanila in their academic engagement. That creates us that kind of different person. Parental care recognizes potentials and needs of our children. If we care to our children, we can do some assessment whether may potential ba ang bata ng ganito or yung may mga kailangan ang mga bata na kailangan kong i-address. And lastly, parental care encourages our kid to succeed in life. Okay? So before I will end my inspirational talk here, I just want to give you this words of wisdom. The best way to guide our children is not giving a reward, but realizing the importance of independence and how it can help them to survive the combats of life. The effectiveness of our role as parents is reflected on how our kids will journey as a separate individual from others. Time will come that they will depart. But before that departure will happen, we parents should constructively fuel them. And that makes parents dedicated, wonderful, and at the same time responsive to the needs and call of their children. I hope that I have given you some inspiration, parents, in this academic engagement at home. And I hope that you can start working with those frontliners that I have proposed earlier. Yung, you need to find time and at the same time you reinforce, you observe, you take note all the queries of your kids, you track their academic performance, you listen, initiate positive mind, you notify through collaboration, you encourage and reflect, and at the same time you stay optimistic and participating. So I guess that's in my presentation. Thank you for listening, and I hope that I gave you some inspiration and motivation, parents, in order for you to effectively play your important role in this time of pandemic crisis. Okay, thank you. So let me check if there are questions. Give me a moment.
Hello po, Doc.
Yes.
Yes, good afternoon po. Thank you very much, Doc Philip, for that very indeed inspirational and motivational talk po. Ayan. So
Thank you.
let me just read, Doc, some of the questions from our participants mula po ito sa comments sa ating YouTube channel. So
Uh-huh.
first question po, sir. This is from Miss Roda Lipata. Ayan po. Being a first-time OFW stranded overseas, what is the best advice you can share with me in order that I can still be of help to my children's online classes?
Okay. So medyo challenging yan kasi OFW yan. Pero ito dapat kasi kung OFW ka, the most important thing that you need to do constantly is communication. And I guess the best way to communicate with your kids is through online. So kung merong means na mag-communicate kayo online every day and just kung hindi kaya ang teaching, pero yung monitoring lang, kinukumusta yung anak mo. At least kahit papaano, mararamdaman ng anak mo na hindi sila iniiwan, parang kung hindi sila iniwan ng kanilang magulang physically sa bahay. Parang kumbaga, nandiyan pa rin ang kanilang nanay amidst na nagtatrabaho sila as OFW. Hindi kasi biro ang buhay ng isang OFW. At hindi ibig sabihin na mawawalan ang ating responsibility in terms of caring our kids by means of calling them or doing a video chat at kumusta. O anak, kumusta ka na? May mga assignments ka bang nagawa ngayon? Yung mga ganung bagay lang. Mararamdaman ng anak mo na, mahal na mahal ako ni nanay, kahit paano nababantayan ako, gagalingan ko ito kasi tinanong ni nanay kanina, pagtawag ulit ni nanay, may isasagot ako, parang mape-pressure din si anak. At mafe-feel din ng anak na mahal ako ng aking nanay. I am a product of an OFW, hindi parent, pero ang aking kapatid. She works, actually, she was a policewoman before and she decided to work as a domestic helper para makatapos kami ng pag-aaral. Mahirap dati ang communication. Walang Facebook noon. Pero ang ginagawa namin is pumupunta kami ng PLDT. At palaging tinatanong ng aking kapatid, nag-aral ka mabuti. Ano ba ang mga requirement mo? Baka kailangan mong may kailangan ka dyan na dapat mong bilhin, ganun mga bagay. Doon naramdaman ko na, kahit malayo ang aking kapatid, pero kailangan ko magsumikap kasi minomonitor ako, mahal ako ng aking magulang at pinaparamdaman niya na hindi hindrance ang aming distance sa sa pag-communicate sa isa't isa. Okay?
Okay po, sir. Thank you very much for that response. Second question po natin, sir. This is from Miss Al Cameron Avila. How should parents address issues on the excessive use of social media sites among teens? What is your stand about grounding them?
I do apologize. Can you repeat the question?
Apo, sir, how should parents address issues on the excessive use of social media sites among teens? What is your stand about grounding them?
What is your stand about?
Grounding po, grounding.
Okay. Here's the thing kasi, guys, hindi kasi biro ngayon ang mga social media platforms. Actually, kahit bata na, kaya na mag-TikTok na walang monitoring ng magulang. Eh. Pero the best, I mean, I guess the question here is that something that we need to monitor? Yes. We need to monitor our kids and we need to instill discipline. Kasi again, yung sinabi ko kanina, hindi natin alam kung how far they are now engaged online in the absence of their parent or their guardian. At hindi natin alam yung risk na pinapasukan nila. Kaya nga, kung ako, for example, I give restrictions, for example, I may tell to them na hanggang 9 o'clock lang ang internet, then find time to talk. Yun kasi ang minsan kasi na nakakalimutan natin. Pinapatay lang natin ang internet tapos bigla lang tinutulugan tayo ng ating magulang. Pero hindi natin alam na pwede namang patayin ang internet tapos kausapin natin saglit ang mga anak natin. At kahit papano, we can end it in a very meaningful way. Kasi ang mga kabataan kasi ngayon, parang, let's be honest, they are very self-entitled. Yung mga kabataan ngayon, feeling nila entitled sila sa buong mundo. And that is the thing that we need to, at least kahit papano, control that kind of mentality. So, for me, um, if I hear it correctly, yung grounding, hindi naman porket pinatayan ka lang ng internet 9 o'clock as a limitations on a daily basis ay parang masama na or nakakasama na. That's instilling discipline. Kasi at the end of the day, you parents are the responsible person behind your kids. Kasi kayo naman ang at the end of the day na baka masisi. Sasabihin niya ng mga tao, ay, kasi pinabayaan mo yung anak mo. And I understand those parents na talagang naglalagay sila ng restriction through this kind of online engagement sa mga anak nila because they want to protect their kids. They want to teach a sort of discipline to their kids. And at the same time, we want to condition our kids na dapat merong mga limitations sa buhay. Hindi pwedeng porket open ang world to us, then we are not limited in our things or engagement sa mundong ginagalawan natin. And I salute those parents na pag nagre-restrict sila, and I highly salute them na ginagawa nila yung discipline sa bahay. Kasi yun pa lang, ang pagpapakita ng disiplina sa bahay ay pagpapakita ng pagmamahal sa mga anak. Kasi the more na pinapabayaan niyo yung anak or parang kumbaga ini-spoil niyo yung anak niyo, kayo din ang mahihirapan at the end of the day. Kasi baka ibabalik niyan ng anak ninyo, sasabihin ng anak sa inyo, eh mama na-spoil niyo ako, bigla ikaw ang nagkasala. Kaya nga mas mabuti na merong mag-i-instill tayo ng limitations, ng restrictions, and at the same time discipline in order for us to give what we call that authentic and unconditional love to our students. I mean to our kids. Questions?
Okay po, sir. Thank you po. And for our last question this afternoon, this is from Miss Liza Matro. Sir, paano po natin matutulungan ang mga student na parehong absent ang parents?
Okay. Eto. Actually, that's a very good and critical and crucial question, I guess. Pag absent ang parents, there are a lot of definition about parental absence. Maybe both parents are deaf, or both parents are working abroad, or both of them are working. I mean, they cannot give time to their kids, something like that. Marami kasing definition ng pagiging absent ng parent. Hindi natin alam kung what's the reason behind. But maybe the best question here is that in the absence of the parent, are we supposed to allow our kids to live in their own world alone? Hindi ba pwede nating hindi ba pwedeng maghanap tayo ng ibang tao to replace us? Like for example, yung iba kasi iniiwan sa biyanan or iba sa mga kapatid. hindi ba pwedeng maghanap tayo na parang to make a substitute in our presence? Kasi kung hayaan lang natin ang anak natin mag-isa, hindi natin alam kung anong klaseng mundo ang ginagalawan niya kasi hindi natin nababantayan. Pero kung merong isang tao na can be a substitute to our presence and can give that can give I mean that substitution will give us information parents kung anong nangyayari sa anak natin, at least kahit paano na monitor natin yung anak natin. I understand that parents are busy, talagang nagtatrabaho, and that might be some I mean one of the definition of being parental absence in the home-based education of our parents. But again, 30 minutes or 20 minutes, um, it's a very meaningful time. Or for me, it's a very meaningful engagement with your kids. Yun na lang, yung sa iba kasi, minsan ang parents talaga, wala na talagang magulang. Nagre-rely na lang talaga sa kanilang mga tiyahin or someone else who replace that physical image of the parent. But again, ang parent kasi is no longer defined as biological at this present time. Anyone can be a parent so as long as you are dedicated. Like ang kaibigan nga, pwedeng tumayong parent on behalf of his or her best friend. Di ba na sa mga movies na ganun. Pero so as long as you have dedication, so as long as you are willing to be of a person with that kind of helping attitude to the kid, I guess that would work with the kids. Yun nga lang ang well, reality-wise talaga, may mga bata talaga na hindi nababantay ng magulang. Maybe wala na silang magulang. At totoo, I'll be honest, nakakaawa talaga sila. And hindi natin alam kung ano nangyayari. Kaya nga, minsan napapariwala ang buhay. May mga buhay nila. Kaya nga, talagang, i-challenge ko talaga ang mga magulang na nakikinig ngayon. Kung sabihin na natin, wala kayong panahon sa inyong mga anak. Dahil sa sobrang busy ninyo or yung yung possibility ng physical presence niya sa anak niyo ay hindi talaga pwede, then find a substitute in order for that kid not to live alone. Kasi mahirap Kung mabuhay ang bata na mag-isa, embracing alone, in the comfort of his or her own aloneness, hindi natin alam kung anong nangyayari or anong pwedeng mangyari sa bata na hindi natin namomonitor. Okay? So I hope I answered that question. Actually, that question is really hard. Kasi ang apektado dito is hindi yung tanong para sa, hindi yung sagot na pwedeng maibibigay sa magulang. Yung epekto ng kawalan ng magulang sa anak. Yun yung very crucial. Kaya nga palagi kong sinasabi, parent is no longer defined as biological. Anyone can be a parent so as long as you're good and dedicated to being a parent to a kid or two children. Okay? Any more questions?
Okay po, sir. Doc, yun na po lahat ng questions natin for this afternoon. Do you have any final reminders for our viewers this afternoon?
Okay. I guess first, again, I would like to thank Vival Group for giving me this opportunity to at least give you some inspiration, parents, on how you can play your important role in the academic learning of your kids inside your own home. Okay. And I guess I may advise you na no matter what happened, you're the best person to be consulted, parents. Kahit anong mangyari, you're the best person to be consulted. Kasi pagmulat pa lang ng mata ng bata, ikaw yung nakikita. And doon pa lang, masasabi na nila na ito yung taong maganda kung pwedeng kausapin, yung aking magulang. Kasi alam ko, ramdam ko, na mamahalin at buong buhay akong tatanggapin at mamahalin ng aking magulang no matter what happens. Kaya kayong mga magulang, please be dedicated. Please find time to your kids, especially right now na nasa pandemya tayo. Mahirap man, tanggapin. Mahirap yung sitwasyon natin ngayon. Pero dapat isipin natin yung welfare ng ating anak. Again, being a parent does not require to be intelligent. It's a matter of dedication. Then that defines parent. Okay? So thank you, and I hope that you will support the advocacy of Vival Group. I really appreciate them because of giving you information and educational related webinars that will increase some technical and personal capacities. Okay? Again, thank you and God bless all. Thank you.
Thank you very much po, Doc Philip Quizon, for this very inspiring afternoon. Maraming maraming salamat po for being with us with our
Thank
preparation sa amin pong shining moment as educators sa ating mga estudyante. Thank you very much, sir, and God bless you po.
you.
And
God
of
bless. Have a
course, to
nice day, guys. Bye-bye.
And of course, to all our viewers, maraming maraming salamat po, and we are hoping to see you tomorrow for another session sa atin pong Parent-Teacher Collaboration Webinar Series. Thank you very much everyone and keep safe, Kavibal.